Welcome to the Epic Photography Podcast. This is, I think it's episode 8. We're getting into it now. I'm Dave Williams, and we're going to have a discussion today about travel photography, the gear you want to take with you, and the planning around the gear for making sure your trip is a success. It's only 2 of us today. I'm joined by Sian Elizabeth. Hi, Sian.
Hello, Dave. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Where are you?
Looking forward to this one.
You're still in the same place every time I've got a different backdrop.
Well, I know. It's all right for some, isn't it?
So today I'm up in Scotland still. I'm by, I don't know the name of the loch, so I'm not going to say it in case I'm wrong, but Eilean Castle is just down the road, and I'm on my way over to the Isle of Skye. And so it's kind of ideal to be talking about gear and travel and planning and all that sort of stuff. But this episode was your idea, and so I'm keen to hear what your thoughts are. So how do you plan what gear is going to go with you when you go traveling?
So, to be honest, this is why I wanted to talk about it, because I am awful when it comes to packing for bits and pieces for camera trips and everything. I end up having far too many cables. I take everything just in case. Or if I leave something out, I'm like, I wish I'd taken that lens with me. So, yeah, I kind of wanted to get an expert's opinion really and talk about it with you, about how you kind of decide really what kit you want to take with you, and do you feel annoyed at yourself if you've left something behind? So just wanted to find out more, Dave.
Well, the most important thing is the planning. Absolutely, yes. The most important thing. Whenever you go away, there is no point just taking everything just in case. It's important to plan, especially when, like, if you're going hiking or if you're going to be, anything where you're going to be carrying a load of stuff around. It's important that you only have the stuff that you need so that you're not weighed down. So planning what's going to happen during the whole trip, taking, if you're going on a plane, for example, getting all the stuff with you to the destination and then packing again, so that for today's excursion we need this, for tomorrow's excursion we need that. It's all really important. And I do it mentally, but if you have a list and you write down what you're going to take and how you're going to pack everything, what lenses you're going to need for specific shots, that's a fantastic idea. So let's say, for example, we're going to a waterfall, and it's going to be something we're going to be really close to. There's no point taking a really long lens. We can take a wide lens to shoot the waterfall. We're going to need some stability, so we can take a tripod or a platypod. There might be suggestions of inclement weather, so perhaps something else that needs to go into our bag is wet weather clothing. Maybe a shutter release cable. But
you see, you're already up to about 15 kilograms there, I reckon, with kit.
That's not too bad. So the thing is with camera bags and choosing the right camera bag, because you know what the thing is about a camera bag that a lot of people don't think about? There's this psychological thing. Do you know what it is?
No.
Whatever camera bag you have, you're going to fill it.
Yes.
So
ain't that the truth?
If you've got a big camera bag, you're going to end up just packing it full of things you don't need.
I mean, it's the same with suitcases, to be honest.
Well, yeah. It's important to bear that in mind when you're going traveling, when you're going hiking or anything with your camera. Take the smallest camera bag that will do the job. If you take something big, you'll end up carrying way too much stuff that you don't need.
See, that all sounds very, practical, Dave, but when it comes to me and traveling and everything else, I'm the complete opposite. And it's I have to say, it's got me into trouble when I've arrived at the airport, and you have to try and squeeze your bag in the hand luggage to go on the plane and everything, or they end up weighing it. That is my absolute nightmare. If I end up to the airport, to the desk, and they say, we have to weigh your bag, I'm like, oh no, because guaranteed my hand luggage going on the plane with me is heavier than my hold-all luggage.
Well, that's the thing. I've rarely had my hand luggage weighed, but when I have, it's quite often over. And it doesn't really matter when it's over, because you can always argue that it's expensive stuff, or that it's lithium-ion batteries, or it's glass. Yeah. It's all these things that can't go in the hold, and you'll get away with it 99% of the time.
Actually, that's a good point with batteries. what can and can't we take on planes when it comes to that? Is it just the lithium batteries?
You can take anything on the plane, on the journey, but you can't put your lithium-ion batteries in the hold. They have to go with you.
Right, okay.
And
Good tip
the
there.
reason is to do with the temperatures in the baggage hold and the fact that your bags are thrown around. We know they're thrown around.
Yeah.
It can damage the battery. If a battery gets damaged, it can actually explode or catch fire.
Right,
so they have to be
which we
with
don't
you.
want.
No, they have to be with you in your hand luggage.
Okay.
So if you're carrying drone batteries, I'd recommend getting a fireproof pouch, which is just an extra layer of protection to keep everything contained.
Where do you
the
get those
chances
from?
of something Amazon, eBay, they're not very expensive.
Okay.
Just look for lithium drone battery case or holders, fireproof, some combination of those words. You'll find it.
Okay.
But yeah, there's no real problem with weight in your hand luggage as long as it's not too heavy that it can't go in the bin above you. But
I mean,
that said, you could, if it fits under the seat in front of you, then the airline really doesn't have much of an excuse. If you come back at them and say this is all fragile, it's glass, it's batteries.
Yeah, a lot of my stuff has gone on the floor and underneath the seat. So,
Quite recently with COVID, it's been quite handy because usually the planes are empty. So firstly, they don't care. And secondly, you usually get a row to yourself. So you've got plenty of space.
So that's the thing. I haven't travelled actually since we went to America for our trip. So I haven't been on a plane yet. It's been a while. So I'm looking forward to sort of getting back on there and getting to do a bit of travelling. So it's.
Do you have anything lined up?
Fingers crossed. I don't know whether it's going to go ahead yet, so I don't want to jinx it. So I'll have to wait and see. But hopefully, at some point, we'll be heading back over to America, I'm sure.
Right.
So
okay.
looking forward to that.
So the big thing with photography, with what to pack, is going to be lenses.
Yes.
And so I always have, wherever I go in my main baggage, I'll have my Holy Trinity, which is the 14 to 24 mil, 24 to 70, and 70 to 200.
Yeah.
If I can get anything else on top of that, then if I think I need it, then I will. But that covers most bases, covers most situations.
I have to say to you, I definitely agree. 24 to 70 and 70 to 200 are the two lenses that throughout my whole sort of photography career, hobby and everything else, they are the two lenses that I use the most. I think for me, the 70 to 200 probably is the main one. But say a lot of people do ask, what are the two that cover the most different genres and get the most scope. And those two lenses are without a doubt they're the workhorse ones.
Oh yeah, definitely. The 24 to 70 for things that are close or big landscapes, and the 70 to 200 to isolate things, or to get close shots of animals or people or things that you're passing by. But I use my 14 to 24 more than anything else.
Right,
and that is because the whole sky fills the lens.
Yeah.
And when I'm shooting the Northern Lights, which is my number one subject, that's the lens that's going to cover everything, that's going to get everything onto the sensor, because the Northern Lights are filling the whole sky. So that pushes to another question, though, which we've had an episode on, but it's worth touching on again, I think, is filters.
Okay.
Each of those lenses that I use has a different, radius at the end.
The diameter.
Yeah, that's the one. One's an 82 mil, one's a 77 mil, and the 14 to 24 has a bulbous lens, and so needs a special adapter. So each of my lenses needs different filters.
So can you not use the clip-on with the square?
Yes.
You
so
can,
with
but you
the
need
H&Y filters I use, I have step-up adapters, so I can use the same filters with different adapters, only on the 24 to 70 and the 70 to 200. With the 14 to 24, it just has such an awkward front to it that I only use one filter, which is a 10-stop Lee Filters 100mm big stopper.
Right, okay.
And anything else, it's just taking up space and weight and things like that. And that goes back to what I said about only taking what you need. So when it comes to filters, I will only, as I said before in that last episode, I'll only use a filter if it is to do with time. So long exposures, streaky clouds, glassy water, or milky water rather.
But there's so many opportunities for that when you travel. So, I mean,
how
can you not
that's
take
the thing.
them?
That's what I do. That's the thing I do use them for. I won't use them for any other effect because you can achieve every other effect in post. Which is worth thinking about if you're trying to decide whether you want to take something, whether it's going to take up space and weight in your bag. Maybe think about whether you can achieve the same result with Photoshop or Lightroom afterwards.
So, I mean, that's definitely a good point to consider. But I'm when it comes to travel stuff and everything else, I always take I take too much with me, and it is always just in case. Oh, just in case And
should we very quickly just consider that hike we did to White Pocket, Arizona?
Yes.
The place I called Brains and Veins. And what did I have? I had a camera with one lens and a platypod around my neck on a Black Rapid strap. What did you have?
I had a tripod. I had my bag with 2 lenses. I had filters probably. I probably had cables in there. I had all the batteries. And then I think out of everything, I had probably a quarter bottle of water left because we just, the camera equipment took priority.
Yeah. But what did you actually use?
The lens, the camera with I think 24-70 was the one that I was using the most. And my tripod became my walking stick.
But the thing is, although we're laughing about it as if it's a terrible thing, was it a terrible thing or was it slightly annoying?
I mean, look, it was 45-degree heat and it was, having to carry an extra whatever kilograms was a bit annoying. And I didn't do myself any favours. However, I don't look back on it and go, oh, I wish I hadn't have taken all of that kit or anything. It's not something that I remember looking back on in a negative way.
Yeah.
But I do wish I could pack a bit more sensibly and practically when I sort of go on travel things. Because actually, you mentioned earlier about wildlife. Now, when I go away, my number one thing, so I'm a portrait photographer, but when I started out in photography, I wanted to be a wildlife photographer. And it was such a passion and that's what I wanted to do. But for wildlife photography to be at the top of your game, unfortunately, sometimes it is about kit because those lenses that you get, 600, 800 millimeters, and you get those beautiful sharp shots, and the bokeh or bokeh. How do you say it, Dave?
Bokeh.
And so sometimes it is about the kit. And those lenses, I mean, they're seriously heavy. They are inconvenient. Yeah. So when I go on a trip,
that is wildlife and bird photography, though. That's There's not a lot else where you need those.
No, but you see, when I go away to places, I'm like, oh, but I know I'm going to be seeing this, and I know I'm going to need a really long lens. So my kit becomes 24-70, 70-200. I've got the 100-500, but I possibly might rent a bigger lens, maybe. But they're 3 lenses that are already quite heavy in my bag. Mm-hmm. Then you've got all of the batteries and bits and pieces. Then I want to take my drone, and then of course the tripod. And then what else do I have? Oh, the filters, because obviously I do want to take landscapes while I'm there as well. What else do we have?
Batteries, memory cards, lens cloths.
Yes, lens cloths.
A microfiber towel.
Do you know what? They are some of the things that you should never leave home without when you're photographing. I've done it before and I've got water speckles on the lens and you're like, no. And then you try to wipe it and then it smears and then it's ruined. You just can't take pictures then.
So my general sort of everyday stock in my camera bag. So forgetting the camera and all that, I will have a memory card or 2. I will have a battery or 2, a lens cloth, a microfiber towel, like a fold-up travel towel. So it takes up barely any space, but I can dry my gear or like just throw it over the top of my gear. If I'm ready to take a shot and the conditions aren't right and it's snowing or raining, I can just throw the towel over the top of the camera.
Yeah.
Quite often I will have a sensor cleaning swab because I've found that changing the lens on these first generation of Nikon mirrorless opens up basically opens up the floodgates to any dust in the area is going to stick to that sensor.
Okay, well, it's always good to err on the side of caution, is it, with these things? Yeah.
I think that's pretty much it. Make sure, obviously, there's space for a water bottle as well. And a snack.
Yeah, the essentials.
There has to be space in your camera bag for a snack. That's a given.
I mean, but this is a thing. So I've, on past trips, if my hand luggage has got so full with everything that I cannot fit anything more in there, then it goes into then my holiday bag, if you like. Mm-hmm. And I'm not joking you, more times I've actually opened my bag up and half of it is dedicated to camera stuff and the other half is like there's a few clothes in there and you're like, there's obviously something wrong with this. Like
yeah. So honestly then, forgetting that they're a sponsor, what's your ratio of tripod to platypod? Will you take a tripod every time?
No. Take the platypod every time.
Okay.
And it's just because, I mean, it's another thing, isn't it? I mean, in America, I had both with me because obviously I like to pack just in case. But when the places that we went to in America, there were sightings of mountain lions and stuff. And to be fair, I'm kind of glad that I took it with me because it became my defense weapon just in case. But I didn't actually use it as a tripod.
Do you remember that hike we did? Where was it? Somewhere in Nevada. I can't remember the name of the place.
I can't remember the name of it.
But we went for a hike in the evening up a canyon.
Yes,
it was all great fun. There was a cave. And then
I found some little frogs, which kept me entertained.
I went off ahead because I was climbing up some rocks and you had too much stuff, I think, to be able to come.
I did.
But then I came back. Do you remember that?
Yes. And you seemed a bit shifty and I was like, what's wrong, Dave? And you're like, we just need to go.
Yeah.
Okay. And we just kept going and you're like looking around. And then it wasn't until we got back to the car and you're just like, yeah, so I'll let you tell the story.
Yeah. Well, I went up this, I'd call it a gully, gorge, canyon ahead of you. And it went in a fork and so I found this cool hole in the floor and I was set up to shoot the hole composed with the canyon behind it, and I heard a thud on the rocks just above to my left, up in where there were some trees that came down into the canyon to where I was. And then I heard another thud and there was like an exhale, like as if a mountain lion had landed, gone thud and then exhaled a little bit and was trying to be sneaky and sneak up on me. And that's when I decided, nope, let's go. And I came back to you and I didn't want to scare you. No. I didn't want to cause panic or anything. So I said, I just said, let's go. And I made sure you were ahead of me. So I was behind and ready to fight a mountain lion or, whatever.
Thing is, because I found some frogs that I was like really, captivated by, which I wish I had my macro lens for. I didn't have it with me, but I had the 24-70 and I was fascinated with that. And so when you came back down, I was like, what? I don't understand. We just need to go now. But and actually a few other people had said, didn't they, that there had been sightings and to be careful. So
well, that's the thing. So the more I think about that, I know we're talking about gear, but the more I think about that, the mountain lion is something that's going to, if it's going to attack you, you're not going to know about it until it happens.
No.
So I'm wondering if it was just curious or if it was something else, but I'm convinced it was a mountain lion.
Yeah.
That's not the only strange thing that happened to us. I think it was even that day or maybe the next day. Remember the UFO?
I do. I knew you were going to say this. So yeah, it was. I think we're just heading back, weren't we? After photographing there, I can't remember the name of that place.
Hurricane.
The canyon. Hurricane.
No,
that's it.
No.
No.
So the town when we saw the UFO, the town behind us was Hurricane.
Yeah,
and we were driving on the main road that was basically straight towards Area 51. Mm-hmm. It was like miles and miles and miles and miles and miles ahead, but it was straight ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I'd taken a picture of that. Yeah, I love Denny's.
And this light came down at a slight angle straight in front of us from really, really, really high. Yeah. But it was like a deliberate sort of.
It was weird.
It was a
really
light.
Weird.
It was like a light that was switched on, not like the burning light of a meteorite or something. And it went down and then slowed down a bit and then vanished.
Yeah, it was super weird.
We
yeah,
both
I mean,
looked
you
at each other like, what?
Yeah. Very surreal day, I think. I think they were the same day. Yeah, very surreal. But yes, going back to gear. So batteries, tripods, memory cards.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you find essential in your kit?
Platypod, because it will always fit, and it's always good to have some stability. So whether I've got a tripod or not, I'll have a platypod.
Yeah.
The only thing the tripod does that the platypod doesn't is give you the height or more flexibility with the height, because obviously you can mount a platypod in higher places. That lens towel is a lifesaver. So a microfiber travel towel, always, particularly in the Arctic or in anywhere wet or cold.
Actually, that's a good point. So you're in a lot of cold places.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that the batteries run out a lot quicker.
Yeah.
So do you need to compensate for that? Do you take more batteries, or do you have like a battery charger that you would take with you?
I'll take the same amount of batteries, but I'll just treat them better. So they'll be in my pockets, near my warm body, somewhere that they're not going to discharge quickly. But what I will do that's unique to the cold and the wet is, those silica pouches that come when you buy a computer or whatever, something electronic, and you get silica gel bags. Mm-hmm. I bought a big pouch of those, and they're spread throughout my camera bag.
Yeah, I have to say I use those as well.
So if I put my wet camera in a bag, it will soak it up.
Yeah.
Also, if you're out in the cold and you need to protect your gear. So if you're out in freezing cold and then you bring your camera back into a car or a hotel or something like that, it's going to mist up. It's going to mist up pretty quick because of the difference in temperature and humidity. So the best way to deal with that is to keep your camera acclimatized to the cold, either by keeping it outside if you're quickly going in, quickly getting in the car, whatever.
Okay.
Or by putting your camera into your bag, sealing your bag with the zips.
Right.
And then putting it into the boot or the trunk of the car so that the temperature difference is less contrast in temperature, and there's less opportunity for the humidity to build up quickly. So these are things to protect your camera using your camera bag in the wet and the cold. And I've learned that through trial and error and through destroying a camera. I did destroy a camera at a waterfall in Iceland. It wasn't fun. It was fun, but it wasn't fun afterwards when the camera started taking pictures all by itself in the middle of the night. And I was like, hang on, what's going on here? But it was that moisture intrusion into the circuits that did it. So you need to take care of it, and you can use your camera bag to take care of your camera in the cold.
Do you think that? I mean, as I know we touched upon sort of traveling on aeroplanes with bags and everything. Do you think they should be a bit more lenient? I know you said you've never had your bag weighed, but I have, and I've been told to kind of take stuff out, and then I wasn't sure where to put it because I thought it's really delicate stuff, it's expensive, and I do feel like there needs to be some sort of like clause or something. If you're a photographer, clearly with photography kit, then you should be allowed to take it on.
I always managed to get it on. The few times I have weighed it, it's not been a problem. I've just, in my carry-on, I will only have electronics, batteries, lenses, fragile, delicate stuff with batteries, lithium batteries.
Because then you've got laptops
there is nothing
as well.
that can be taken out.
No.
You say to them, your policy says I can't, so all this needs to come with me.
Okay, I like that.
And that's never gone wrong.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to go to Africa and photograph all the wildlife there. I think that's a lifelong dream. And I just think about all the electricals that I'd end up taking with me, and then probably 2 pairs of clothes or something.
Yeah. I think for something like that, it might be worth using a Pelican case or something, and because the lenses are enormous that you'll be using for stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, well, I have to rent one, I think. There's a few new ones that have just come out, actually, and they're sort of like, does it 20 or 30,000 pounds? So
yeah, the 800 6.3 by Nikon.
Oh.
That's just come out. Fantastic looking lens.
Yeah.
Really good image quality, really sharp. I don't know what the weight of it is, but that one's just come out. But you don't use Nikon, you use Canon.
I am. I'm a Canon girl. I've always been Canon. Well, I have to say, I did try Sony for a while, but it was too expensive to change everything over. And as good as Sony are, I really have a lot of time for Sony. I just couldn't get on with the controls. It just felt backward to me. You know, I started with Canon and everything was just so second nature to me with it that I had to go back to Canon. And now with the, I've got the Canon R5. I have to say it's probably the best. It's the best camera I've ever had from them. I love it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, every time I touch a Canon, I know the feeling. So even the zoom ring on the lenses goes the opposite direction, doesn't it, to a Nikon?
Do they?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
When you zoom on a Nikon, you zoom that way. When you zoom on a Canon, you zoom the other way. So yeah,
that's just wrong.
It's just complete opposite. Laura, okay, so you mentioned laptops.
I did.
So what goes with you? So with me, I'll take my laptop and an SSD hard drive and a charger, and and obviously a card reader, and that's about it. What about you?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same with that. But laptop, hard drive, probably like a 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte one, just in case. To be honest, my biggest problem when it comes to, I'm just like looking around to see what else do I take with me and trying to remember in my office room here. But yeah, to be honest, my biggest problem with travel is cables.
Right.
I have so many cables, and I'm pretty certain that most of them could double up. But I just haven't taken the time to actually go through it all and go, oh, well, actually, that could do 2 things.
Yeah.
And so I end up just taking 2 cables.
Well, so I have a cable pouch.
Okay.
And so I have a USB-A, a USB-C, a micro, a lightning cable. So there's one of each, and because everything uses one of those, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So if I'm using, like, I don't know, a Lytra, that charges off a micro USB. Anchor power packs will charge off a USB-C. Laptop has got its own USB-C. Phone runs off a lightning cable. So I have what's the term I want to say? Like a pouch that's exclusively for cables, but it's only a small thing, so it just gets shoved in. Yeah. I guess I didn't even think about it. I just do it.
Yeah. It's definitely something that I need to look into, because it's honestly like going through all different cables and trying to figure out which one I need. And I end up probably with about 20 cables going with me. It's ridiculous. And then obviously different chargers. So you've got the drone. So you've got obviously different batteries and chargers for that as well. And then on our last trip, I also took the Profoto A1 with me. So obviously another light, something extra to put in my bag, extra batteries, extra chargers, extra plugs. And these are things that you can't scrimp on when it's a plug, really. You can't, you just have to take it with you.
That's the thing. So it's all about weighing it up, though, isn't it? So if you need to take a strobe, then you need to take everything to make the strobe work. But it's more about not taking things you don't need that's more important. So that's why the planning, like I said right at the beginning, is so important. So if your plan involves a portrait with a model and you need the strobe, and maybe you need a tripod which you can double up as a light stand. So this is my problem, Dave. You're going through that and I'm thinking, right, okay, the next time I go away, I'm going to do some travel. So then the trip that I'm hoping to go on is a bit of travel and some portrait work. So in my head, I'm just thinking about the list now. I think, well, okay, laptop, 24 to 70, 70 to 200, 100 millimeter macro. What do you want that for? So I use that for beauty and portraits. That's one of my favorite lenses for portrait work, actually. Okay. And tripod, platypod. So obviously those 2, because just in case. And then
ideally, I'd love to take my B10s with me, my Profoto B10s, but then that's another bag with extra light. So I'll take my Profoto A10 instead. So it's a bit smaller and everything else, but I have to, adjust. But then I need a modifier to take with me. And then, it's a lot, isn't it?
If you need to take it, then you need to take it. You can't get around it. But then it comes down to more about the organisation, taking the right camera bag so that everything fits nice and tight and you don't end up with extra space. Because like I said, if you have extra space, you're going to put something in the extra space. You're going to fill it up.
Yes.
And you're going to end up taking more than you need.
So actually coming back to that, you mentioned your camera bag. What one are you using at the moment for your travels?
Loads.
Okay. So you've got different bags for different trips, or
different bags for different jobs, yeah.
Okay.
So I've got a Think Tank Pro sling thing. I can't remember what it's called, but the sling bag.
Okay.
I've got.
Do you like sling bags? Are they?
They do a good job. If you need to take like an extra lens.
Yeah.
Then they're perfect. So in that I can fit the camera, a couple of lenses, platypod, and a ball head. Perfect.
So it could be good for like hiking, quick.
Yeah, or quick. Maybe if you're walking around a city for a whole day, you don't want to be carrying a huge bag around with you, but you might want a couple of different lenses for interiors, architecture, exteriors, things like that.
I'm going to have to find some photos of. Sorry, I'm going to say I have to find some photos of me carrying my bags around, because you'll laugh. Like over the years, some of these bags have been as big as me. Like,
what else have I got? I'm a big fan of Wandered, so I've got the Wandered.
That's the bag.
What?
That was the bag that I loved that you had because the way that it opened up and everything, and I was like, this bag. I need this bag.
So I've got a few different Wandered bags, but they're really good. I was a Wandered ambassador for a while, but then when they changed their marketing team, and I just sort of got cut out, which is fine, fair enough. But I've got a few of their bags. They're really good. Yeah. The Toxic Valkyrie is a really good backpack. So it's got a frog pocket. So if you're getting stuff wet, it can go in a separate compartment. It's got plenty of
frog pocket.
Yeah, so it's like a waterproof pouch.
I've never heard that term.
So there's like a big chunk at the bottom of the backpack that you can push out so that it becomes a waterproof section, or you can flatten the waterproof lining so that it's just normal.
Okay, that's quite handy actually.
It's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
And that has space for, you can strap your tripod to the outside. It's got a water bottle pouch. It's got laptop sleeve. It's a really good backpack.
Don't you ever find, as photographers, when we go through all this, and you're saying you got different bags and things, and that really cool frog pocket, when you talk about stuff like this, I just want to get it all, because I love the gadgets. I love the fact that things have extra pockets or something, like a cool feature of it, and you're just like, oh.
Well, that's the thing about camera bags.
Yeah.
Is that you need the right camera bag for the job, not for you as a person, because you're going to be doing different stuff every time. And so as photographers, we tend to collect, hoard camera bags. So I've got loads. I don't know about you. I've got loads of camera bags, but they all do a different thing.
So actually, I only have 2 camera bags. Now, one is
Are they both huge?
No, I mean, so I think there's some. I don't know where the pictures are of me with my f-stop one, which I took to America with me. I think it's the f-stop Loca. I think it might be. So I think it's 30. I want to say 25 litre bag. I think 28 litre bag. So it's not too bag. But no, I've got that one, and I've had that one for years. Like it's gone with me pretty much around the world. It's been my workhorse of a bag, but it's not very dressy, so I can't use it for, like you're saying, I can't use it for a professional job sort of thing.
Okay.
So my other bag is the Profoto. I've got a Profoto bag that my B10s are in, and I really love that bag. It's great, but obviously that's more for my lighting than it is for my camera.
Yeah.
So I'm on the hunt for another bag that kind of, to be honest, I'd like one that can incorporate the two. I want it to be smart, but I also want it to be waterproof. I want lots of pockets. To put my camera, maybe to put my Profoto A10 in. I don't know. Maybe I should just make one.
Sounds like you need a Wandered Fernweh That sounds like what you're describing to me. Check it out.
Okay.
Not an affiliate. Not an affiliate post. I'm just saying that sounds like what you are describing.
Yeah. Because it would be, and something that's going to last a long time as well. Because I have looked at different bags over the years. I thought, it's nice as it is now, but you know, I don't want it to look shabby because I know what I'm going to use it for. And so, yeah, or maybe I should just get 2 bags, one smart one and one travel one.
I've got about 10. Like I say, they all do the job. They all do a job. And then everything else is just, you know, a bonus, I guess. But the most important thing, as I say, is you need the right size bag. You need to, because you will fill it. You just will. It's a fact. Yeah. It's a psychological thing. We are inherently hoarders as photographers. We love to collect gear, don't we? You know, new lenses, new cameras, new filters, new this, new that.
And so I have 3 boxes in my office, which I don't know. I mean, I know there's photography stuff in all 3 of these boxes, but I just don't know what I use this stuff for anymore. It's like cables, it's random batteries of things that I don't use. I mean, I need to get rid of it, but I'm holding on to it. Yeah, it's part of my photography journeys.
Cool. So I think we've covered loads of stuff there. Is there anything else you want to throw in at the end?
I don't know. Travel. I think what you said was probably the best thing. Write a list. And I think that's something I'm going to have to do moving forward, because then you can have a clear idea on the page. Like, what am I going to do? Realistically, what do I need to take with me? And then maybe at the bottom, what should I take just in case that I'd rather have with me in case I get
So you've just completely ruined your list by putting extra stuff you don't need. Okay, fine. But yeah, it's important to make a list, because then you know what to take and what to pack. It gives you the right bag, the right size camera bag that we now know is very important. And don't take too much gear, because you'll end up just carrying dead weight wherever you go. If you're going somewhere where it doesn't matter if you're carrying it or not, fine, do what you want. But if you are literally carrying it on your back, just take what you need.
Yeah.
So, thank you, dear readers, for joining us this week on the Epic Photography Podcast. I'm Dave Williams, and this is
Sian Elizabeth.
And we're going to catch you again another time. We will remind you that if you want to join the community, join the discussion, make some suggestions about future topics, or ask us anything, you can join our Facebook community. It's facebook.com/groups/Epic Photography Podcast. And you can find Epic Photography Podcast as a page, and as an Instagram, and as a TikTok, because we're, down with the kids. And
on Twitter?
On Twitter, we're Epic Photo Pod.
Oh, Epic Photo Pod, sorry.
Because it didn't fit. So that's that. That's this week done. Fine. Thank you very much for joining us.
Oh, sorry, you said it didn't fit. I was just about to say, like all of the stuff that I want to take when I go travelling.
Well, that's that. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. See you later.
See you later. Bye.